In this lesson, we're going to finish up shaping our fire geometry and then go ahead and add a fire material to really set off this fire particle system. So here's where we left off in our last lesson, and we went ahead and we started creating the behavior of our fire. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one more time. You'll notice how it's kind of dragging when it comes out the window and then really takes off. So what we want to do now is actually change the shape of our geometry and then go ahead and apply that material. So let's go ahead and go to our perspective view, and what I want to do is actually go ahead and create a box in our scene. So I'm just going to go to my create panel, geometry, and standard primitives, and let's just create a box in here. I'm just going to drag one in really quickly, and I'm going to go ahead and size up the length, width, and height here. So I'm going to do 50 by 50 by 50 on all of this just to make this a perfect square box. And I'm going to give it some segments, so let's go ahead and do 8 by 8 by 8, just so I have plenty of segments to work with here. Now what I want to do at this point is go ahead and add a modifier to this box, and I'm going to add the spherify modifier. So there it is, and once this is applied, you'll see that we've taken that box and just spherified it. Now you're probably wondering, why didn't we just go ahead and just use a sphere? And that's simply because the topology on a sphere has a lot of triangles on the top and the bottom, and whenever we apply a modifier like noise, which is what we're going to use, it doesn't really apply itself too well. So what I want to do is go ahead and apply a noise modifier and just really reshape this sphere. And what I want to do is get kind of a really rough tendril look to this. So let's go ahead and take our noise modifier up. So let's turn on fractal, and let's adjust our strength in our X direction, and we'll just kind of adjust this until we get a shape that we're pretty happy with. Now I really want to stretch this out in like the Z direction just to give this a really odd looking shape. Now let me go ahead and hit Z on my keyboard so I can actually rotate around my object, and I really just want this to really keep its rounded shape, but really a lot of irregularity. Now if you don't like this shape, you can go ahead and make some changes to the strength, but you could also adjust the seed and get a different shape altogether. So this is a little bit too flat for what I'm looking for, and I'm kind of clipping in through the geometry here. Let me go ahead and lift this up. And I'm going to go ahead and just go with this one here. I'm pretty happy with that. So let's go ahead and instance this geometry. Instead of using these these cubes, let's use this geometry here. So what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and right click on this and convert it to an editable poly, just to collapse that modifier stack into an editable poly again. And let's go ahead and select our PF source. So with that selected, let's go ahead and go to our particle view, and let's go over to our fire particle view, our particle system here. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually switch out this shape to, instead of using the cube 3D, let's actually use a shape instance. And shape instance will allow us to choose custom geometry that we've created in our scene to actually be the shapes of, in this case, our particles or our tendrils of our fire. So I'm going to go ahead and click and drag that shape instance and replace shape 001. So now we're ready to go ahead and choose the shape or the geometry we want to instance, and we're going to click none, and we're going to choose that tendril shape. So now we've got this shape coming out of here. Alright, so let's go ahead and just kind of take a look at what this looks like here. And this is really, really large. So what I want to do is actually take the scale percentage down, and let's take this back to 100. I'm not really sure what I was thinking here. Let's go ahead and go to our geometry and scale that down. There we go. Now that's scaling our geometry, and now we're getting a little bit different shape here. Okay, so if we scale this down, now we've got the shape kind of boiling out of our window, and then it's kind of going up into the air here. Alright, so now let's go ahead and let's actually try to create a material for this, and then we'll make some adjustments to our shape if we need to. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's close this out and let's go to our materials. Now here's our smoke material that we created last time. We're just going to move that over, and we're going to create a brand new standard material. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to utilize some of those maps that we used last time with our smoke material. So let's go ahead and let's click on our diffuse color node, and let's just click and drag this out. And we're actually going to go ahead and create a particle age map. So let's go ahead and click on that. And we're going to double click on our particle age. And what I want to do is actually change this to like a red, or even like a deep red orange. Okay? Anywhere in there is okay. So I'm going to hit OK on this. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my color 2. And let's make this an orange color. A little bit less deep than our color number 1 here. We'll hit OK. And on color 3, I'm going to go ahead and keep it white, because I want that color, as this particle is dying, I really want that to pop. Now we know that fire glows really brightly, so it would make sense that we would use a self-illumination map. So let's go ahead and drag one in, and we're going to use a smoke map. Now I know last time when we used smoke, we didn't use smoke, we used the noise, so it seemed like it would make sense to use this there, but let's go ahead and use smoke on our fire here. And the reason I'm doing this is because we really don't have a whole lot of white and gray area. We've got a lot of empty space on this. So we really want fire to have a lot of holes and a lot of irregularity. So what I'm going to do now is, with this smoke map, I'm going to go ahead and double click on this. And we're actually going to go ahead and change the colors on our map here. So let me lift this up just a little bit higher here, and let me see if I can squish this a little bit more. Give me just a second. There we go. That way it's fitting inside of there, so you can actually see it on what we're doing here. And let's go down to color 1 and color 2. And what I'm going to do is actually make this kind of an orange and a yellow color. So you could really do anything you like. I'm going to go with this deep orange, and then switch this white color to a yellow, just to really make those colors glow on our map. Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's go to our opacity map. Let me move these down out of the way. I'm going to bring this opacity down here, and we're going to put another smoke map right on top of that. Let's grab this one and move it. Just kind of organize this material just a little bit. There we go. There's our smoke map. And let's take a look at our map here. Now we got a couple of problems here. You'll notice that it's not really looking like fire. It's looking a lot like that smoke material that we created. So let's double click on our material here. And we need to make sure that we are actually using the self-illumination here. So let's check this, and now we can see that we're getting this color here. Let's go ahead and take our diffuse color, and let's change this to like a red color, and hit OK. Now you can see that this is really, really popping here. So this really looks hot like fire here. So let's go ahead and let's just stick with that. Let's go ahead and do a test on it. So let's go ahead and close this material. And well, actually, just one second here. Let's actually select our PF source. And there it is, Fire 01. And we'll go ahead and apply that material. And now we need to go ahead and make sure that that material can be applied to this geometry, or to our particle system. So let's go to Particle View. And let's go ahead and bring in that material dynamic again. Okay. So let's go ahead and just drag this in here. And because we want to use that material dynamic is because we're using that particle age. We want this fire to kind of change color as it gets out of the building. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on that and assign the material. So here we have this fire material that we've created. Just double click that. And now we have this material on our geometry. So let's go ahead and close this. Let's go to our camera view. And what I want to do is actually just hide this geometry here. So let's right click and hide selection. And well, actually, you know what? Let's do unhide all and then go ahead and hide that selection. So that way we can see our smoke in here as well and just kind of see what this is looking like. So let's go ahead and do a quick render. Okay, so now this is finished rendering out here, and our fire might be a little bit overpowering of our smoke, so we could add some more particles for our smoke, or we can decrease our particle size on our fire. I think I would rather go ahead and increase our particles on our smoke here, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. You could do that on your own time. Just be careful with the adding of particles, because again, if you add too many, that might crash your system. So you want to save often and just be very careful and cautious of that. Alright, so in this next lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to actually create an explosion on the side of our building and actually take chunks out of this building and kind of give us an explosion of bricks and material out on the ground surface here. So we will do that in the next lesson.